Hey everyone, Catch 'em All Collectibles here. In today's video, I'm going to dive into the anatomy of a junk slab and talk about further on the super bubble discussion that Jake and I had in a live earlier this week. By the time you see this, it will have been about a week ago, but I started out with the fact that we might be in a cardboard super bubble, and then throughout our conversation, I refined my opinion to talk about how it's really propelled, I think, by the idea of plastic adding value to the card. In some instances, there are reasons that it does and should, in my opinion, but this video will be largely targeted at the floor of junk slabs. And disclaimer I'll put up front, if you grade a card that you enjoy and it's worth it to you to pay the grading fee to have it encapsulated, and you're doing that as a consumer to consume the item, considering its value 0 for all intents and purposes, just because you enjoy it, no thoughts on future value, that does not qualify as a junk slab. Junk slab is the intent, grading for stonkage, grading to add value to the card. The floor on these items is 0. I don't care how good of a card it is. There's no intrinsic value. In 100 years, 99.9% of cards, in plastic or not, in my opinion, will be worth functionally or effectively 0. So yeah, sorry to burst your bubble if you're stonking out hard on plastic, but I'll go through in this video specifics as to why I have these opinions, and I'll point out some examples in both the sports world, which is kind of more advanced, a more mature market than the Pokemon space, and then I'll show from the Pokemon space, and something I very rarely, if ever, do. I can't go all the way to use the G word, the guarantee word, but I will show you 5 specific cards at the end that are examples of cards you really shouldn't be buying today because the price will be lower in a year, 2 years, when grading is more accessible. And whoever's buying the cards, I mean, hopefully it's as a consumer. At the end of the day, even if you're buying it as a consumer, most collectors, every collector has a limited budget to some extent. So optimizing your capital expenditures, optimizing the price you pay on certain things will allow you to collect more. So I think whether you're the truest of true collectors, money is still relevant to you in that it's a limited resource for you, and you should have some thought on optimizing when you buy what you're buying, because if it's $100 today and it's going to be $10 in 2 years, you might as well buy some other things that maybe are less baggish, less junk slavish. But yeah, with that, I figured we'd start on Gemrate.com. Shout out to them. They do every month, they add a post to their blog. They do daily stories on Instagram. In July of 2022, 1 million new PSA slabs entered the market. 153K from CSG and CGC combined, 54K from SGC. And Beckett changed something in their pop report, so it's not really known how many they added. And here's a breakdown of, I mean, at PSA, Pokemon leads the TCG category, which led all the other sports. TCG is many non-sports things clumped together, specifically trading card games, because there are non-sports down here too. But yeah, Pokemon is a very large portion of PSA. You could actually go to Pokemetrics and you could see how much of that exactly was Pokemon, but over 90% of it. And then all the other sports down below. Basically what I'm trying to show here is just that many new pieces of plastic are entering the market every day, week, month, and year. So there's always going to be new supply flowing into the market when it comes to graded cards. And that's just the 4 biggest ones. There are many more smaller ones that are adding to that supply as well. And now from here, we're just going to go right to eBay and we're going to start browsing some of the various offerings that we can see there. I don't know. I mean, I do watch sports a fair bit, mostly football, but I watch hockey when the Rangers are playing. I don't know who Jarrett Culver is. Probably a failed stonkage on a rookie class, PSA 9. This could be had right now. So not only, like, these aren't just completed auctions, these are actual active buy it nows. You can buy these today. Great for if you're a collector, if you're a Jarrett Culver collector, if you like this guy, you can go out and get a PSA 9 for $7. That's lower than you'll likely ever be able to grade it again. So caveat on this whole thing, if you're investing in plastic, cardboard encapsulated by plastic, it might be a little scary to see how low some of these things can go. Because I'm not going to show you PSA 3s, PSA 4s. All the cards today, I believe that I chose PSA 9s and PSA 10s. You can say in sports, oh, it was a failed rookie's prospect. It's still plus EV to grade them because when they do pop off, they go to the moon. Maybe true, but again, negative towards the investor side if you end up with some of these failed investments. Positive towards the collector side that these are out there in the wild to be had for sub $10 in graded form. Another PSA 9 available. This is baseball. John Buck, PSA 9 mint. $7 shipped. We've got about 6 and change for Jonathan Cooper. I've actually heard that name. Arizona Cardinals wide receiver looks like. Rookie card. A lot of these are rookie cards too. So a lot of these guys didn't really pan out clearly. But I mean, this one's buy it now for 99 cents with $5.50 shipping. They're probably netting $1 or $1.50 on shipping. It doesn't actually quite cost that much usually. But one anecdote that's not my own personal one, but the Sports Card National that happened a few weeks back in Atlantic City, there are dollar boxes of slabs. And again, I'm not talking PSA 2, PSA 3, PSA 4. There's probably some of those in there, but there are dollar boxes of already graded slabs, monster boxes, thousands of slabs that you can buy, walk away, $1 cash. We're not there yet in Pokemon, but that's part of what I wanted to show so much of the sports up front. We will get there in Pokemon. There will be conventions 5, 10, 15 years from now where, again, the floor is zero. Right now, we're kind of getting away with it. Shout out Pokey Jace if you're watching on eBay. Seems to bid $10 on anything. I'm still able to sell bulk to whatnot streamers, grab bag manufacturers, mystery box. They should say mystery bags, honestly, instead of mystery box. But we're getting away with kind of a floor around $10 to $12 because the grading cost was $7.50. We're not really punishing the people who graded those failed prospects. Some of which, I mean, I graded some. I graded over 1,000 cards with CGC, towards 2,000 probably between CGC and PSA that I bulked off at 12, 13 a piece while I could, because there will be a future where that's not a thing. And yeah, continuing on through here, Michael Lorenzen. Some of these are pretty recent grades, probably sent in during the mania when everything was going for, seemed like 20, 50, $100. No idea who some of these names are, but again, that's not entirely the point. In Pokemon, oh, well, no Pokemon has bad performances. They can't break their ankle. They can't have, so they can't be like a failed rookie prospect in Pokemon per se. But I think I showed that one twice. As we get there, soon we'll be there somewhere. Looks like I pulled up a lot of Dalvin Cook. Definitely heard of him. Very, very good running back. This was a completed listing. So very, very good running back. At the time, it was for the Vikings rookie card. This is a rookie card. I believe he's still on the Vikings, and he's like he's one of the. I actually have my fantasy football draft tomorrow night. I'm recording this on Friday. It'll be posted on Monday. But he's like a top 3 rounds, I want to say. So for him to have had a PSA 10, again, when you send a card to PSA, the best grade you can get is 10. It's not like this is a failed black label try. It's not like this is a failed perfect 10 try. This is the best possible scenario the grader could have gotten, the person who sent this card, and it sold for $4.99 shipped. Now we're to the Pokemon. So again, same thing. PSA 10. It's literally the best outcome for the person who graded it. It's pop 4 in the entire world, and it sold for $9 shipped. Unless this was somebody who submitted 1 million cards a year, maybe it was, they certainly did not pay less than $7.50 or $7 to grade this card. They definitely lost money, eBay fees, shipping fees, all that included. They probably could have done a buy it now, and I don't know. It's a wash energy trainer, so I don't even want to try to give them the benefit of the doubt. I don't want to try to have them escape from this punishment. That occasionally people have gotten punished, but it's not as bad as it's going to get. Zygarde PSA 9. It's a PSA 9 super modern hollow. It's probably low pop. There's probably not many graded yet. The population report is largely a popularity report in many ways. Not many people are submitting this, and this is why. Had this gotten a 10, it probably still would have been sub $10. Yeah, it just, you can't grade anything and get away with it. That $7.50 fee isn't going to just magically earn you higher expected value for paying that fee, and then it doesn't work magic. It did in 2020 maybe, but it's not, and it's going to get worse from here. Here's just a search of PSA 10 Pokemon. It really gets clogged up, one, by raw cards just putting PSA 10 in the title. It also gets clogged up by these 99-cent one bid best offer accepted. I think what this is, it's an auction that was started that the seller took an offer from a buyer and just ended the auction early, and they don't show the real price that it ended for. So unfortunately, a lot of these clogging it up. We can't really see the real number, but like that one's not even PSA. And I feel like I'm, as usual, I'm very late to the game. YouTube went through the junk slab talk probably a year ago, so I'm a year late talking about junk slabs in depth. And I remember hearing a lot of people say, if it's sub PSA 9, why would you grade it? Only base first edition is worth grading in sub PSA 9. As if 9s and 10s could just never be considered junk slabs. I'm only showing you 9s and 10s. So what the grade is ultimately doesn't protect it. 10s are at risk of becoming junk slabs that are in dollar bins at future conventions. Ones that you literally can't sell on eBay because they're listed for $5, buy it now, free shipping, and they're not selling. I mean, the floor price that you can ship a slab and actually like break even, I would say it would have to be $4.99. Anything below that, say somebody buys it from me in California, I'm going to be at risk between the cost of the packaging supplies, the final value fees, and then that's figuring nothing for time or overhead if you're a business. So yeah, that's one thing I wanted to cover. Another thing that I want to cover is popular Pokemon have a lot more depth in demand, but that still doesn't guarantee, just because it's Charizard. I mean, there's a Charmander right there. Only a PSA 8 evolutions. That's a pretty rough outcome. I did search PSA 10, but it came up because of the number 10 in the Pokemon. PSA 8 evolutions, so it's a Charmander labeled as a Charmeleon. This one's got a lot of things going against it, but this is the actively listed lowest list buy it now, PSA 9. Again, if you look at sports, you have rookie cards of some known people. I mean, Dalvin Cook was there. You have rookie cards of some known people listed for cheaper than this in PSA 10. We have a ways to go down. The fact that this is the lowest listed, the fact that there's none cheaper, as if, I don't know, it's whether people aren't listing them or people are just buying them. I have a little bit of a fear that people are actually buying them for their mystery bags or whatever they're making. But yeah, like here's the lowest listed PSA 10 in all of Pokemon. So I searched PSA 10, buy it now, low list. This is the first real one that came up. I don't know if this goes for raw, but we're going to be in a world, in a future where, especially think 10 years from now, to date, in 30 years approximately, PSA has graded 40 million cards total. That's not Pokemon cards, that's all cards total, approximately. 40 million cards in 30 years. Each year now, they're grading 12 million more at their current pace. 10 years from now, we will go from 40 million slabs just from PSA. This isn't BGS, CGC, SGC, whatever other three-letter acronym you can come up with. This is just PSA. In 10 years, we will go from 40 million PSA slabs at current pace. I mean, the markets could tank further. We could really go down. PSA could retract from where they are, or they could double. Nat Turner has been quoted as saying he seeks to get to 20 million slabs a year. So I think it's reasonable to just forecast the current rate. 160 million slabs will be out there in the wild in 10 years, PSA only. So the amount of downward pressure that will put on so many things is unbelievable. Right now, we're in a situation where the current cheapest rate that I can send a card at today is $30, and the turnaround time on that is projected to be about 5 or 6 months. Again, Nat has been quoted as saying, long term, he wants to get back to where there's a $10 grading option and there's sub 90-day turnaround times. I don't know if we'll get there because I think the demand will be too high. I've heard people speculate that inflation, the cost of materials, the cost of labor has gone up so much that $10 might be not profitable and we might not see it for those reasons. I don't really buy into that. Grading is such an easy thing to do. It's such a low cost thing to do relative to so many other industries. I almost guarantee you can grade cards for sub $10 and make a lot of money. But they don't need to. They're doing it now for 30, getting through the backlog. But at 18, they took in way more than they expected. I think sheer demand alone might keep them very, very happy to not be able to get down to $10 a month. And then maybe they scale towards the 20 million a year and they get down to the $10 price point. If they scale to 20 million a year and they get to $10 grading turned around in 90 days, that will be very, very bearish for cards like this, which honestly isn't a terrible thing. Again, investors might get punished, but collectors will have access to very, very cheap slabs. Here's a PSA 10 Galarian Meowth. It's a common card. I mean, there has to have been millions of this card printed. There's probably less than 10 of them graded. It's probably low pop. Sold for $886 shipped. Anatomy of a Junk Slab is the title of the video, and this is like an extreme example. Ultra modern, literally still in print, or possibly still in print. Less than 2 years old. We're looking at 2020 Sword and Shield base. They recently reprinted those ETBs. They're putting Sword and Shield packs in a lot of different products. We might not get a reprint of the booster boxes, but when you're talking about an ultra modern, mass produced, when they were producing 3, 4, 5, or 9.1 billion cards a year, this is indicative. This is like the true anatomy of a junk slab. What do I have searched here? Here I have searched PSA 10 Charizard. So again, I heard things that if it's an ultra modern card, if it's sub PSA 9, if it's an unpopular species, even if it's a popular species, it's not just automatically safe. Here's a PSA 10 Charizard that sold for $15.50, $4.25 shipping. Okay, so it says PSA 10 in the title, but it's actually a PSA 9. Here's a PSA 10 that sold for about 20, 21 bucks shipped. More than it should, honestly. I don't know who it is buying all these. Again, if they're doing it as a consumer, I want a PSA 10 Charizard in my collection. Fair play. I wouldn't call it a bad purchase inherently, because like, say you want a PSA 10. If you buy this raw for 50 cents, it's probably not even going to be PSA 10 condition. You might have to buy 20 of these raw to get a handful of them in PSA 10 condition. Then you need to wait for PSA to get sub $10 again. So if you know that you're buying this, that it might never go up and it might only go down from here, that's fine, because to replicate this and get this in your collection, it might take 5 years, and then you might get a 9, or the corner might be dinged and you might get a 6. So fair play if you have the right outlook on the card. And then to end it, as I said earlier, I was going to give you 5 examples of cards that are 99.999% chance they will be lower in 6 months from today, a year from today, 2 years from today, 5 years from today. Because another really point that other people have made too, if the raw price is a fraction of what the graded price is going for, either in PSA 9 or PSA 10, it might be a junk slab. When you have a raw card this says $3.69, I've bought them as cheap as $1.50, still sealed. Greninja Gold Star 2 does have some quality issues. I have a few hundred I looked through. They might have a lower 10 rate than some of the other examples I'm going to show you. But still, in any case, this is a very good example. The PSA 10, I believe I sent 7 of these myself at $18 a piece, which was kind of crazy, because if they grade a 9, I'm going to lose money. But $100, mark my words, quote me, call me out when I was wrong, in 6 months, this will be lower than a $100 PSA 10. It's not going out on much of a limb, but very infrequently do I guarantee things. Do I make such bold statements that this price will go in this direction? I feel pretty safe in doing that though, because this card is just really, if you're buying it, if you bought it for $400 first to market, very common thing, cards will go first to market, really insane, go down from there. Especially so though, when turnaround times are so slow, people must have graded these cards at $100, $150 fee each. Very, very risky play, but they were rewarded for it. And we're still at $100 PSA 10. I believe I've seen auctions go as cheap as 70, 80 bucks, but still just that is, they printed so many Celebrations ETBs, hundreds of thousands, if not a million or something. So this card is very plentiful. It's going to be available raw mint sealed for a long time at sub $10 certainly. And the 10 price just has a long way to go down from here. Another random example, Evolving Skies just got a reprint. It might get more down the line. This card raw is going for 37 bucks. Look at the 10 rate on this card. It's only been graded at expensive tiers. None of these were graded sub $10 because PSA was closed at those tiers. The 10 rate just between 10s and 9s is like nearly 90%. And somehow 9s are going for a profit and 10s are going for a real big profit. So like this card, another one, I guarantee you a bunch of these were sent out at the $18 tier. There's probably some in at the $30 tier, $50 tier. They're going to be graded as well. But when we get to sub $10, sub 90-day turnaround times, by then, this price will already be so low that maybe people won't be incentivized to send them in further. But in some crazy future where this stays flat or goes slightly up or even doesn't go down too substantially, this card would be submitted in mass. If I could go to market and buy cards for 40 bucks, double my money in a 9, quadruple it in a 10 in sub 3 months, like that is just going to go down before we get there, as we get there. And not only the pick on Ultra Modern, maybe picking on Ultra Modern once more, but I know I do have some vintage examples as well. Again, raw mint, $8.35. Celebrations came out last year. So this came out less than a year ago. I can't believe this many cards have been graded already. We're looking at 750 plus cards having been graded, and these were all done. They had to be done 30 plus a piece because $18 just opened. I did hear that one person got their cards back really, really quickly, but most people haven't. This card is absolutely going to go down significantly in PSA 10. I mean, it started in the $300 to $400 range. It's down to $112. It's actually popped up slightly somehow. Absolutely crazy, but yeah, this card right now, it's $5 on TCG, $8 on eBay, and it's going for a slight profit in PSA 9. PSA 8, a really weird thing going on. It's going for more than the 9. The pop is so low, there was probably like a shield item. Not an accurate data point there. But one really funny thing too that I didn't even think about addressing in this video. I was going to address it in a separate video. The PSA 10 premium versus the CGC 10 premium. I've seen some people as kind of like a slight to CGC. CGC 10s are absolutely harder to grade than PSA 10s. It's just, look at the pop reports, look at my earlier videos comparing the PSA and CGC pop reports. 100%, like guaranteed CGC 10s are harder to grade. And some people have stated, oh, the CGC 10 premium has entirely eroded away. It's people hate CGC, it sucks, it's awful. The 10s don't even garner as much money. The reason for this, the entire reason for this, CGC is currently turning cards around in under a month. People that are buying this card raw for $8, $5, $10 even, grading it within a month and then turning it around, selling a 9 for a break even, selling a 9.5 for a triple up, quadruple up, and a 10 for a 10x. Those people are killing it. I kind of kick myself for not making like ultra modern CGC plays right now, but again, in a future, a month from now, or not a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, 5 years from now, I can't guarantee this part, but it's way more likely that CGC will retain some portion of a premium because they're graded so much harder. It's so much harder. It will be lower pop than the PSA version. So yeah, the only reason the 10 premium has eroded away by CGC on a lot of these ultra modern cards is because CGC is actively turning cards around. And PSA hasn't yet returned one card that was graded at 18, let alone $10. So there's just a little bit of a commentary on the whole CGC versus PSA 10 thing that I've heard talked about a little bit, and it's just like, come on, guys, you know that the PSA 10 price is being propped up by the fact that they're not turning cards around right now. Fairly obvious, and I don't know if people are just oblivious to that and trying to push some just anti-CGC agenda, or if or if they just actually don't know that that's what's going on. But in either case, vintage isn't safe either. Vintage isn't, I mean, this card, I've talked about it so many times. I pick on it all the time. It's fallen from $1,000 at the peak all the way down to $170. But in this time frame, so this is when PSA was open but super backlogged. March is when PSA closed, end of March. So $500 when it closed. And then all this whole downtrend has happened while PSA hasn't had a $10 option. Many more of these, if the price stays this high, will be submitted. The 10 is massive profit. The 9 is still profit. The 8, the 7, I mean, some of these cards, the 5's doing a weird thing again, but it grades pretty easily. I mean, a quarter of cards, over a quarter, a third of cards get PSA 10. Some people not being too safe because you didn't have to be, getting PSA 8s. I graded probably a fair share of 8s because I just sent them all. But yeah, cards like this, this isn't safe. This card is still transacting for too much because grading is just in this closed state. It is, well, Pikachu's not the rookie. Eevee's the rookie in Jungle. But $170 for this card is just too much. A year from now, it will be cheaper. 2 years from now, 5 years from now. This one's a little bit more of a stretch. This one I could be wrong. Maybe I'm underestimating. But I see these pops. If this holds, I will send so many. I will send hundreds more myself. I don't have them on hand yet, but I can acquire them. Cards like this can be acquired in mass. Millions were printed. Millions were printed. Only 5 to 10,000 were graded so far. So yeah, I didn't want to just pick on Ultra Modern, throwing a little bit of vintage under the bus as well. I sold some of these recently. PSA 9 being break even, PSA 10 being big profit. I will grade more of these down the line if and when we get to $10 sub 3-month turnaround times. The only reason that I wouldn't would be if this price goes to where it should be, $40 maybe, 30 to $40 for a PSA 10, losing money for a PSA 9. I mean, when a card is so available, Anatomy of a Junk Slab, again, the title of the video, when the card is so cheap relative to its graded card price, available in mass raw mint. Note that I'm not showing WotC first edition holos. Note that I'm not showing rare Japanese or English promos. Note the cards that I'm not showing. Note the cards that I'm showing. But again, this video was kind of like an attack on the super low end, the junkiest of the junk slabs. I do, in my conversation about the plastic super bubble, I do think that there are many cards that people don't think are as risky. I think they're riskier than they think, especially with an investment mind, with a long-term time horizon. The more of a premium you pay for the plastic, regardless of if the card is inherently good or bad, the more of a premium you pay for the plastic, the more of a risk you're in. I think grading, they make a lot of money. They take a lot of money out of the hobby, as do the platforms we sell through. eBay, PWCC, Golden, Heritage, PSA. Very, very healthy businesses, doing well to pump everything. And I think it's going to be to the detriment of a lot of investors. Not just in junk slabs, but that'll be more for a later video. We've already almost approached 30 minutes. So with that, let me know in the comments below what you think. I'll be live later this week on Wednesday or Thursday. Not sure which day yet. But yeah, that's it. Let me know what you think below. And as I said before, I will have a video coming out soon talking about my buy it now consignments that I'm going to be starting, talking about consultations. I won't be buy it now consigning any slabs like this. I will have a minimum that's fairly high. But yeah, with that, I will catch you all later.